Every minute, there's someone out here waiting for the response, and the test reads positive. Every second, someone is diagnosed with the HIV virus. Could that be you? Join us today on the Buzz Club as we examine the virus and we examine what AIDS looks like for me and you.
I'm ready when you are.
I'm always ready. Are you ready, Vincent?
I'm always ready. I'm not nervous. I'm never nervous about my story. I have a gift to give.
Well, I'm glad that you're here to share this gift with us.
Vinny has agreed to tell his story about living with AIDS in the gay community. Viewer discretion is strongly advised.
That's good.
So can you tell me how you contracted the virus? Or when you found out that you contracted it?
Yeah, like when I found out was March 30th, 2008. And I went to the doctor because I had an infection in my nutsack.
You mean your
my
your
scrotum.
scrotum?
So it was really weird. Like when I would like come, it looked like snot instead of like the typical white.
Right.
So basically, I was really worried, and I went to the doctor, and I was like, "Hey, check me for everything because I clearly have something wrong."
Right.
And so they checked me for everything, and the only test that came back positive was for HIV/AIDS. And on that day, after you test positive for AIDS, they take all these vials of blood from you. And I guess they probably took like 12 vials. And they found out that my T-cell count was 180. And what that means is like most people have like anywhere from 800 to like 12,000 T cells.
Oh.
And these are what like fight all of your infections and diseases and like the common cold and the flu and everything. And if you go below 200 T cells and you have the virus that causes AIDS, HIV, you are considered to have AIDS at that point. That's when the virus is no longer the virus that causes AIDS, but in fact, AIDS.
It's full blown.
Full blown, but they don't use that term anymore.
Why not?
I don't really know why they don't use that term anymore. I think it's just like slightly derogatory, potentially. And so like the CDC will label you as it. Like somewhere in a file somewhere, I'm labeled as having AIDS, not HIV. And like I guess the CDC is in Atlanta or something like that. I get that from watching TV because on that zombie show, whatever it's called, that's like they go there at one point and it's in Atlanta, but they went to the CDC. So I gather that that's where it's at. But like, I'm not allowed in other countries, so I think that's because there are certain countries that I can't go to.
Really?
Did you know that?
I did not know that.
America used to be one of them until Obama came into office and then changed that completely.
So it means that you can't travel to another country?
Like, I'm not allowed to enter the country of Australia.
Because you have AIDS?
Because I have HIV/AIDS.
So there are
Either
restrictions on where you go in the world?
There's restrictions on travel based on that. Other diseases, too. There are other diseases you can't travel because of, or, like, go to other countries. And,
wow.
So, like, somewhere that's listed in something that you are presenting when you go into another country. From what I gather, this is all, like, my own assertion of the way things work. But anyway, so the CDC labels me as having AIDS, not HIV. I start a tripla, which is like 1 pill a day. It's got 3 medicines in it. Mm-hmm. And it's this giant pink horse pill. And it's so funny because when I first saw it, I was like, this is huge.
Right. So from what I used to think, HIV or AIDS patients used to have all these medicines that you take.
It's called
daily.
a cocktail.
Yeah.
And what it is a tripla is a cocktail.
Right.
It's just a 1 pill cocktail.
Okay. Knocks you right out then.
What's that?
Knocks you right out.
Yeah, it's like
right
1 bird or like 3 birds, 1 stone. Mm-hmm. And because a lot of it's changed in the whole like HIV/AIDS medication world. Okay. Anyway, so there's this drug, a tripla that I take every day, and it's supposed to like get it all under control. Well, a month later, after I tested positive, when I had 180 T cells, a month later I had 163.
Wow.
So I was getting worse, and right around then I started developing lumps all over my body. Actually, weird lumps. And if in hindsight, like if I had paid attention earlier, they were following the lines of my lymph nodes. So as it turns out,
So
I
like
had
like your lymph, like someone sometimes.
yo seriously, I had like a lump here, a lump all down here. I seriously thought I was becoming a dinosaur. I had lumps down my arm. I had lumps the size of my fist in my groin, and right above them, I had lumps the size of golf balls.
Were they painful?
Equilateral. Yeah, incredibly painful. And like I was having migraines every day. I was throwing up. I was literally dying. Literally dying. And I had no idea. And I went to the doctor and they were like, well, this is immune reconstitution. Here's a steroid. And the steroid they gave me actually makes Kaposi sarcoma worse. And what it is Kaposi sarcoma is normally on the skin. It's like sores. Have you ever seen Philadelphia?
I did. I was going to ask you about that.
So Tom Cruise in Philadelphia gets fired from his job because they could see his Kaposi sarcoma. Okay. Those blotches are Kaposi sarcoma.
Yeah. Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks. Did I say Tom Cruise? I meant Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks.
We were talking about Tom Cruise before we started filming.
So those blotches are everywhere and it looks like brown, like...
Yeah. They're like sores. Yeah. So, and as a matter of fact, it's one of the 20,000 some odd strands of the herpes virus. Because you know, that virus is crazy and it's got 1 million strands.
Right.
Including chickenpox and shingles.
Oh.
So, this is just another strand, and no one's really clear on how you get this virus in you, but if you have it, it can be dormant forever until you have some kind of autoimmune deficiency syndrome, which will then cause it to go active. So, my body can't fight the cancer. I've got these migraines. I'm throwing up every day. I'm tired, lethargic, and I'm trying to graduate college all at the same time.
Wow. So you found out. So what year were you in college when you found this out?
I was in my junior, sophomore year.
Wow. So
because I graduated in May 2009. Right. And I found out I had HIV/AIDS in March. And then by September is when I started having the lumps. And this whole time I had less than 200 T cells. So I get the lumps. And I go to the doctor and they give me a steroid and they make it worse, actually. They give me this steroid that makes the cancer worse and the lumps get larger and I'm sicker. And I'm like, this isn't working. Mm-hmm. And so they decide to send me to an oncologist. And I go to the oncologist and they give me a fine needle aspiration. They stick a needle in and out one of the lumps. And it comes out all watery. And then it comes back positive for Kaposi sarcoma. Then I go to an oncologist. Well, they want to do a better biopsy. So it's my first surgery I've ever had. And they cut out one of my lymph nodes and tested it. And I have Kaposi sarcoma. So then I start treatment for cancer. And it was chemo. But it was this really easy chemo called Doxil. And what it is it's the chemical that is going to kill the cancer is inside these globs of fat. And they float around your body until they get to the cancer. And then they open up 3 days later and kill just the cancer. So it wasn't going to other parts of my body. I never lost any hair. I never got really sick from it, anything. Right after I had my second treatment of chemo, my T cells shot up above 200 for the first time in almost 9 months. And at that point I was feeling great. The lumps had gone away. I was oh cool, I'm great. Well, but I wasn't because then I do 2 more treatments. I'm good. And I graduate. Then it's August 2009. And I see another, I had sores inside my eyelid. And that was one of the, with the lumps, I had some sores inside my eyelid. And one day I was looking at my eyes and I saw a sore. So I go back to the oncologist. I'm I think I have Kaposi sarcoma again. And they explained to me that this is something that is going to happen to me multiple times throughout my life. And it will never actually go away. It just, stops being an issue when my body can fight it. So evidently, if I'm really, really sick, cancer is going to happen. And it's kind of a kick to the teeth. Yeah. So anyway, I get chemo again, and then I go to Burning Man 2009, which is my first Burning Man experience.
What's that?
So much Burning Man. It's this giant party in the desert for a week. People go and build a city, and then they take it all down and leave no trace.
And where is this in Philadelphia?
In Nevada.
Nevada.
Mm-hmm. You should probably do a show on Burning Man someday.
I should.
I'll come back and tell you all about it.
Okay.
So, Anyway, I go to Burning Man. I get a chemo treatment. I go to Burning Man. I come back. I do 2 more, and I'm solid and have been since 2009. And right after that, my T cells hit 500 for the first time ever. And then they went back down to 300 and have plateaued there for like 4 years, I guess, at this point. 3 years, 4 years, something like that. I kind of lose track of time.
So when you first found out, were you afraid? Did you contemplate suicide? What did you think?
No, actually, like, I'm 31 years old, and in my life, I've contemplated suicide a number of times. And at that point, I didn't think, oh, I need to die, because I was like, oh, I am gonna die. Like, I was like, oh, it, I'm dying, like, who cares? And then, like, I talked with some friends, and in that same day, I felt much better about it. But, like, deep down inside of me, I became, like, self-destructive, and,
Meaning?
Like, just, like, more sexually promiscuous, not using condoms anymore, like, never failing to tell somebody that I was positive, but sleeping with other positive people, and, like...
Because it's like, whatever,
yeah, it's like, whatever, and even though, like, that's not the case, because they can reinfect me and make me sicker, and, or I could reinfect them and make them sicker, and then there's, not to mention the plethora of other STDs that are out there that'll just make me worse, you know? So, so basically, like, I became really self-destructive in my behavior, and I started, like, drinking more, and, like, I always smoked weed. Like, I've cut back a lot on smoking weed recently, but, like, that didn't really change. However, I probably, in hindsight, was smoking a lot more, and it was, like, this slow kind of downward spiral, and then there was this point where I was like, oh, I'm fine with this. But I haven't been. Like, I actually haven't been okay with it, like, the whole time.
Next time on The Buzz Club.
I actually tried to kill myself a month ago because I decided to take a bottle of sleeping pills and drink 1.5 liters of wine and inform my mother that I was just going to kill myself because I couldn't deal with it anymore.
Part 2 of Vinny's compelling story on the next episode of The Buzz Club. Be sure to watch more of The Buzz Club every Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m. on Philadelphia's Comcast, Channel 66, and Verizon, Channel 29.